All right, 5:30 having arrived. Call the meeting to order. Stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to hear some monthly reports. Cindy McHugh is not going to be here tonight. So first up is the Highway Department, Mr. Young.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Well,
Good, good. Well, you know, it's been kind of a slow winter, so we've been doing a lot of work inside the shed, painting, organizing, building shelves, making it so it's user-friendly, so to speak. So, and we've been able to keep up with the cold patching, spending the days that it thaws, spending time on the dirt roads, and keeping them as smooth as possible, and, you know, just waiting for winter to come, so. Knock on wood. Spring is close, and we're gonna be ready to go out, and this week, where it's gonna be warm, start grading and York raking all the dirt roads, so that's where we're at right now.
dirt roads are posted.
Dirt roads, all the roads are posted. I posted them last week. I let some of the loggers work the last couple of days this past week, plus the weekend where it was so cold, but I called everybody up today and told them no more till further notice, don't even ask, so.
I noticed we have a bunch of extra trucks across the street.
Across the
every
street,
day.
yeah. One guy says to me, he says, well, you'd rather have me pull out of here than Middle Road if I got a job, wouldn't you? I said, absolutely, so.
So, yeah.
that's
How's the
where we're at.
salt budget?
Salt budget's good. I think we've used 60% of it, if I figured it right. So sand, we're halfway there on the sand. Contract, we're about 60% on that. So we're in good shape for so far.
Questions to the road agent? Go ahead.
One. How's the new storage building working out?
Working out good. Hopefully now that it's warmed up, we'll also get in there and, you know, we kind of moved in there late in the season and, you know, it needs to be organized a little bit. It's not horrible, but, you know, I'd like to at least pull everything out and sweep the floor and, you know, reorganize it, maybe start building some shelves down there too, and,
Good.
and it's worked out great. I mean, real good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anything we can do for you?
Should be all set.
Very good.
All right.
Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Thank you very much.
And now the fire chief, Mr. Tibbetts.
Thank you for listening to me tonight. I've had this idea for a year. Back on February 27th of this past month, we honored George Clark for his 1-year anniversary of passing away at the cemetery. The fire department was there as well as the Clark family. We also honored Leon Harvey, who was our first fire chief, as well as Willis Rollins, our second fire chief. As you know, George spent most of his life at the Deerfield Fairgrounds as a member and a director. He spent all his life in the fire department, over 69 years. He spent 37 years as chief. He spent many years as deputy warden. He spent 19 years as captain underneath me. I've been thinking about this off and on, and I couldn't do it till the year's anniversary. I'd like the support from the selectmen and give me the authorization to go meet with Governor Maggie Hassan this week before I leave for Florida to name Stage Road from the junctions of Raymond Road to Cotton Road, the Chief George F. Clark Highway. We honored him last year. They honored the fire station out in front of Route 43, which is appropriate, and I feel that is the appropriate road that should be named after him. I know Maggie Hassan, Governor Maggie Hassan, has told me on a couple of different occasions she respected the man very well. And I think with my connections in the state that I'd like your permission to go and see if that can make it possible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be in agreement with that. I think we've got two sections now. We've got Robert Johnson Memorial Highway on 43 and Joe Stone out here in the front. Any others?
I can't think of a better road to do it.
Yeah.
I can't either, and I couldn't say anything for a year. I had to wait to that year's anniversary, and I wanted to get here and start the ball rolling before I left for Florida.
Good.
Think you have the entire board's support, and think it's a good idea.
And I'd like to, if it's possible and everything goes with it, I would like to dedicate it the Wednesday before Deerfield Fair.
Sounds like a good idea. Anybody?
It's fine.
good.
Okay?
How can we help?
And the last thing, I would just like to let the board know that I will be leaving this Friday and I'll be back to March 25th.
Really?
Yes.
Good for
I'm-
you.
I'm getting out of here. It's time.
This is an annual jaunt, isn't it? Right
This is
after-
my
after-
annual vacation, to go lay in the sun and do nothing but eat and lay in the sun.
Watch
Well-
baseball games.
Yeah, right. A little baseball, says Jeff?
I will be getting off the plane and hitting Dunedin 2 hours after I land. I might also say I've made arrangements that Raymond Fire will respond to Deerfield automatic for all chimney fires, smoke in the building, or structure fires during the hours of 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. to make sure the town is covered while I'm gone.
Enjoy your vacation, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. All right. Northern Pass. Anyone want to step up to the microphone, or? Northern Pass?
It beats waiting till citizens' comments.
Yeah.
My name is Joanne Bradbury, and we would like the Select Board to know that the Northern Pass Action Committee would be very grateful if the Select Board would be in attendance at the public hearing in Deerfield at the fairgrounds at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, March 16th.
Is
I'm
it
planning
5
on
or
being
5:30? Is 5?
5 o'clock.
Okay.
They schedule 4 hours. We're not sure if it will take 4 hours. The Select Board will be given 4 minutes to speak to the SEC. It'll be the first time that the citizens of Deerfield will have anything to say to the SEC specifically about the Northern Pass. Thank you.
Okay.
Just a continuation with regard to Northern Pass. The site evaluation committee is supposedly going to be have an opportunity to take and visit various sites in town that could be affected, or in fact would be affected by any towers that are installed. And the suggestion by the Northern Pass group was to take and recommend to the Board of Selectmen that, or have them forward a letter to the Site Evaluation Committee to ask that they visit various locations in town that would be affected by the Northern Pass project, specifically Deerfield Center, and certainly those properties around the substation, which will be affected. Certainly the Bilodeaus are here tonight, and that their property would certainly be affected without any doubt. And any other locations that the Board of Selectmen could think of. I could think of just on North Road where the power lines cross, and just looking in that panoramic view going to the west and envisioning what those towers would look like along that section. I guess the site evaluation committee would be traveling by bus or van or something. I'm not quite sure which. But certainly a request by the Board of Selectmen for them to take a look at some of these locations in town might encourage them to actually do that.
Good idea.
And that's something that needs to happen pretty quickly, right? A
Yes, that's
request
right.
like that.
It's anticipated that they'd be here in town on the 16th, and therefore would be available to take and see various locations in town.
Does anyone involved have specific sites they'd like us to mention?
Can you get us a list?
Can you get us a list?
I think we probably could, yeah.
I mean, just so you don't have to do it tonight, but
Yeah.
Tonight is Rebecca's last
That would be true.
meeting on that side of the dais, I guess. And Rebecca has been extremely helpful in working with people, the group of us that are trying to understand Northern Pass, what the impacts are, what Deerfield can see in the near term and the far term, and so I have here a thank you to Rebecca that I'd like to read. On behalf of the residents of Deerfield who have had concerns about the proposed Northern Pass project and its impact on our town, a very big thank you to you and your fellow board members who have stepped up to become educated and involved regarding this project. We appreciated you taking the time in the early stages when we were trying to discern the positive and negative aspects of this project. We thank you for being involved in the Section 106 historical review discussions to preserve the integrity of our town center as well as other historical resources in town, excuse me, that may be affected by this project. We were bolstered by your participation in the Deerfield Site Evaluation Action discussions in our efforts to support the Board of Selectmen, the Planning Board, and Deerfield Conservation Commission with any information that might help them prepare for the SEC proceedings. Your input has been extremely helpful for those of us who are planning on intervening, and it was great working with you on these efforts. We would like to recognize the work you have done on the Select Board regarding Northern Pass. Your voice of opposition to the project has not interfered with you listening to any residents concerned about Northern Pass. This has been evident by the actions that demonstrated your commitment to being involved so that you could represent what you felt to be in the best interests of the town. Deerfield will miss your contributions on the board, but we trust to see you in other efforts that bring forth your strengths of commitment to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this-
Thanks. Thanks a lot, Eric.
All right, do we have any further comments on Northern Pass?
Do we want to decide now or to send such a letter as they're requesting with sites? Are we in
Go ahead,
agreement
Andy.
with that?
Yeah, I would be in agreement, and I think, what comes to mind immediately is what Fred mentioned, what I would consider the center of town on North Road, looking westward where it's going to cross the road right below Lars, or just north of Lars Transmission Shop and Property. I would also think the wetlands off of Nottingham Road. I'm not quite sure how far down it is, but as you're traveling maybe a mile and a half down Nottingham Road, as you look off to the left, there's a broad expanse of wetland there that
With a
these
tower in
towers
the
are
middle of it.
are clearly going to be visible and clearly have some impact on the wetlands, and then also probably a visit to the immediate area of the substation, particularly as they're talking about increasing the footprints of the substation substantially as well as the towers. And I don't know if people have other specific
Well,
areas in mind, or?
that's the thing, I'm thinking if we get any suggestions possibly from anyone who can think of other places, but I'd definitely be in agreement to send a letter about that. Go ahead, Dick.
To answer the question, I don't think we're against sending it, we just need that list.
Right, so if,
Make a comment in that regard.
Us.
In thinking about sites, there's a lot in this town, and maybe where you were going, Andy, is where I'm going to end up, but Nottingham Road from down by Connie Stone all the way up through the parade, and, you know, there's a parallel with the line, but I just wanted to let you know that we don't have a lot of information about this yet, but through the historical review, the consultants have recommended another historical district in town, and that would be Nottingham Road. Nottingham Road Rural Historic District, they're calling it. Because when you go up that road, it's as it used to be, you know, in terms of the houses, because they're all 1700, 1800 vintage. And there's more to understand this. And it's really, you might say, a recommendation, or what they have, as they've gone through and studied all the housing in town and the impacts brought on by Northern Pass, they've identified this as something to be considered. I'm not sure how that goes from here, but we do have a Heritage Commission and a Historical Society, and maybe that's something they'll pick up on.
Good.
So that would be one area.
So if we can put together a list, is the board all right with us writing a letter and,
Yeah, we want them to review it.
yeah?
I mean, if they're coming the 16th, we don't want to be waiting till the 15th.
and I might suggest that we, maybe not in the letter, but at least in preparation, have a priority of the areas that we would like them to visit, because I can't think they're going to go to that long a list, I suspect. So I would suggest, if you're going to give us a list in writing, that it might be prioritized by what we want, you know, what's most important.
And where they could start and not have to backtrack. We'll
Yeah.
cut their time in half going through this town.
If we could give them a route, right?
So, would the board be willing to have the town administrator put together a letter, and we'll take, up till Friday, we'll take,
You'll take.
right. We'll take any lists, any suggestions on spots that we should recommend, let's say by Friday, write a letter, and I'll, if the board will authorize me, I'll sign it on Monday, and we'll send it before. Does that work?
Phil, I think, wanted to make a comment.
Go ahead, Phil.
You have to come to the speaker here to talk.
I need you on the microphone, Eric.
Since I have the microphone, I'll say, Phil Billett on Nottingham Road, and I guess our property has the unique distinction of being abutters to the substation itself. I know everyone has been concerned with the towers, and I'm not sure I can see the towers from my house, but the power line is one piece of property the Public Service owns, and then they own a 65-acre piece adjacent to the power lines, which abuts our property, which there's a substation up there that everybody knows about right now that's about 4 acres in size. And if you look at the drawings which have been filed, and we were notified as abutters to a wetlands permit, the wetlands permit was one permit for the whole route from Canada all the way to Deerfield. The fee for that permit was $1,234,000 for people who want to know how big this thing is. That was one permit fee. Not all the other permits, just that one fee. So what we find in that application is that the new substation will be located closer to Nottingham Road, closer to our property, will be about 5 acres in size, will cut the knob of the hill off, I don't know if I get these numbers right, Fred, cut the knob of the hill off by 14 feet and fill an area next to the knob by 22 feet of soil. So we can just imagine how long that will take and how noisy that will be, and that we will never be able to spend any time on our back porch because they're going to be 700 feet away. doing this for 2 or 3 years if they get it done. So we have a unique situation, so I would ask, have them come to my backyard, have them at least park on Nottingham Road and try to envision, because right now, when you're on Nottingham Road, right beside our property, and you look up, you can't see the power station. There's a knob, a hill, it's all trees. That knob is gone, and there's a brand-new one there, and it's about 5 acres in size. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was thinking that if the intention was to have this site review done in conjunction with or prior to the 16th, it would make sense to be notifying them earlier, but they've already pushed back, people have pushed back hard up north because the SEC came out with some sites to review in Coos County, and they've gotten blasted. So I don't think it can be done together, and I think the schedule that you suggested makes sense. We'll get it off by the weekend or something like that. And it doesn't have to be done in conjunction with that meeting next week. In fact, it's probably better not to be, because everything would be too rushed. So anyway.
We want to do it right.
So the letter doesn't need to say, we would like to have you come on the 16th. I guess it would say,
Just say, these are the sites we'd like you
yeah,
to,
that we request you come in.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to work on that letter with Jan. And my only comment would be, I would just reserve the right to make additional comment and encourage them to make more than one visit as needed to, there's language that you can use to ensure that, what's appropriate in terms of having enough opportunity to get to each of those sites. And I'd be happy to work with you on that.
Wow.
Okay.
thank you, Denny.
Guess we got it.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Let's go down to outstanding minutes for the 22nd of February.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay, one abstention. And for the 24th of February,
So moved.
Second?
did they even go a paragraph?
Barely.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. And one more abstention. I have an accounts payable manifest in the amount of $27,945.22.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir. I have a request from the supervisors of the checklist to appoint an assistant to the supervisors of checklist from March 8th in said town. Trying to see if, I think this is just to assist at the election, and they're asking for Diana Mary Allard to be.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Speaking of the elections, do we have 3 people who can be there in the morning?
I'll be there.
Ken?
Okay, and I'll stop by in the afternoon and if necessary at night.
I just have to leave around lunchtime for a while, but
That's
other than
fine, I
that, I'll be
think.
there.
Thank you. I have a recommendation from the assessors that we deny an abatement on an abatement request on map 206, lot 4, located at 3 Scott Lane for Marion O. Oakey, trustee, And the assessors give the following reason. Taxpayers feel this waterfront property is over-assessed at $479,900. In their opinion, its value should be $390,000. They have provided an appraisal report dated June 24, 2015 as evidence. The 3 sales used for comparison are all located on other bodies of water. However, there are 3 transactions on Pleasant Lake dating from August 1st, 2014 through October 1st, 2015, and we still believe the assessment of $479,900 is fair. What would you like to do?
Make a motion that we follow the recommendation of our assessor and deny the abatement.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
1 abstention.
1 abstention. Abatement is denied. There's 2 places. Recommendation of the assessors is to grant an abatement to Patrick and Lisa Brochu in the amount of $739.91 for the 2015 property tax on map 207, lot 41, taking the old assessment at $619,700 and reducing it to $586,600. And the reasons they give are data corrections per assessor's recommendations, changed neighborhood code from D to C, changed waterfront condition from 100 to 90.
I would make a motion that we follow the advice of our assessor and grant the abatement.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The abatement is granted. I have a permanent application for property tax credit exemptions for Ruth Mandingo, what? Mandingo, I can't, you can't change mine. 249 South Road for an elderly exemption. Paperwork seems to be in order.
I would make a motion that we grant the elderly exemption.
Second?
Moved and seconded in the amount of $70,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Exemption is granted. Just one place, sir. I have a permanent application for property tax credit exemptions. Irene Mandingo, 253 South Road for an elderly exemption.
How much again?
Looking for it, $110,000.
Move to grant.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Exemption is granted.
Who picks this number, Jan?
The exemption, it goes by the age which the town voted on.
So this person was born in 1940, so 76 years. Am I getting that right?
Yep.
Another application for James Ritchie, trustee of the Lois E. Tilton Trust, an elderly exemption in the amount of $70,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Exemption's granted. Wait a minute, I think there might be two on that. No, none on that one. It's on the next one. Thank you. Notice of computer adjustment. The assessors recommend that we abate $1,870 for the 2015 property tax on map 409, lot 53, located at 72 Nottingham Road, Deerfield, New Hampshire, for James Ritchie, trustee of the Lois E. Tilton Trust. And their reason is a hardship abatement.
I would make a motion that we grant the abatement, based on our assessor's recommendation.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Granted. I have a letter here to Mr. Sansucci. After consideration, the Board of Selectmen would like to continue representing the town of Deerfield on the utility valuations and defense of utility values set by your company for the tax years 2010 to 2014. As of January 1st, 2015, Avatar Associates of New England will handle the utility valuations and defense of utility values established for the tax year of 2015 forward. A motion for the board to sign the letter.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request from Rick Pelletier that we sign the amendment to the solid waste contract. It will change our rate per ton from $78 per ton to $72 per ton this year, with an annual escalation over the next 5 years of 3.3% per year. I'd like the board's permission to sign it.
I would make a motion that we authorize the chair to sign it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll take care of that.
So it's coming down $6 a ton, we're going up 3.3.
3.3% every,
Yes.
yeah. Note for the record that on the 26th and 28th of February, 3 members of the Board of Selectmen approved a accounts payable manifest in the amount of $64,876.89. And then on the same date and the same dates, the same 3 members of the Board of Selectmen approved a payroll in the amount of $55,293.04, which netted at $41,500.61. I have a supplemental intent to cut wood or timber for trustees of the Szynski Trust on Route 107. Just trying to,
I think we
Can't
approved
make
the
up.
initial one, and they're cutting more timber.
yeah, it was initialed,
The original was on.
I'm just trying to read the name and I still can't read it. Robert Stats, Elizabeth Stats, Stephen and Petrus are Lynn Szynski, okay. Original one was signed on the 28th of last year. I'll give you the whole thing.
Okay. I don't know if they're unlocked to you.
Just about to the access somewhere here. They didn't come to see us for a timber layout, so.
All right, I have a request from the DCS 8th grade class. They'd like to hold a car wash out front on May 7th.
We've granted that in the past, and I would have no problem with it.
Okay. Rebecca has passed on a request to put onto the website, on the front page and on the transfer station site. The Deerfield Swap Shop opens Saturday, April 2nd at the transfer station. Donate your items and find your treasure. For more information, see transfer station page. And a 3-paragraph blurb for,
Which you're welcome to make shorter, but
no,
I
I
just
think
want to
that's
have
fine.
all
It's
the
already
information.
on.
It's already on.
Okay.
So I guess we approve.
Yeah. DOT is letting us know that they propose resurfacing this year. Looks to me like the section of 43 from the top of Stage down to the Candia line.
Going that way.
Yeah.
Some tough spots in there.
Let's see if they have the enough money. We're all set. Been asked to post that on our website and on the bulletin boards for the honor flight.
Good.
It is on the website.
Yeah. Very good. Mr. Duclos, are you here?
That's me.
You're requesting a closed meeting with the Board of Selectmen?
I don't know, I want to introduce myself to the Board of Selectmen. I've been residing at 123 Nottingham Road since 2009, and I had a signed agreement to work on the property to prove it up for the guy that owned it.
Okay.
And I met the auctioneer walking on the property Thursday, and he informed me that the town is planning on putting the property up to auction in April. And I've been trying to stay abreast of this whole situation all as much as possible. I mean, in 2010, I made a serious proposal to Alan for the property. And it's not for me to say what his faculties are, but he wasn't receptive of anything. And,
Are you, were you at all an owner of this property?
No,
Okay.
I wanted to make a deal with the town, pay the taxes. I have my proposal, I forwarded here. It's in black and white, the proposal that we offered Alan.
On the right, going out,
I guess, I'm not sure where exactly is the property.
123.
123 Nottingham Road.
Is there a tractor in your driveway?
There is now, just one.
Yeah,
I brought it up.
went by today.
Do we know what the outstanding taxes are?
No, but I can get it.
Okay.
I was informed by Mr. St. Jean, J. St. Jean, Thursday that sounds like paid 2,000. I've been beating the bush to get a little bit more financing than I have to try to that's doable for me. I'm not engineer,
All right, so
but I didn't know. if the town wanted
the bottom line is you're willing to buy the property from the town.
That's my wish.
I think we can, I don't know the exact legalities of this. We'll obviously have to talk with town council and figure out exactly what the procedure is, but I think we'd be interested in entertaining,
You bet.
what we
Yeah.
can do, certainly.
I'm giving a preliminary introduction to the folks in the town. I've been here for so long and haven't been in meetings. And it's an ordeal. There's a lot of paper pushing that. Have a big investment with an attorney that we prepared several sheets of documents.
But you couldn't get anywhere with the previous owner.
Can't, the guy is, like the Walking Dead, right?
All right. Board of Selectmen is definitely willing to work with you to purchase the property. What we need to do is we need to look at how it needs to be done and what the back taxes are. And we can go from there. So if you're willing to purchase the property, when we have an answer, we'll have the town administrator contact you. And we'll go from there. Is that
I
reasonable?
would think we could have some idea of exactly how we need to proceed before our next meeting.
Yeah.
That's,
So we'll look into it, find out what
to hear you guys.
our only purpose here is to get the money that the town is owed in taxes. And we'd much rather you own it than us own it.
Is there a date for the auction, do we know?
I'm gonna find out when Jen gets back.
Well, we probably have some control over
Yeah, we can,
the final auction date, too.
so I would say by our next meeting, which is 2 weeks from tonight, we'd have the procedures and the numbers that we're looking for, and we can, how about if you want, you can come back to the next meeting? Okay.
We got like 4 finance companies that kind of fighting over it, and then 3 of them are saying we've got a problem with the mobile home, so there's something that can be done on my part to talk to these folks. Straighten
Talk.
that out.
Talk, right now, you're talking that we want to hear, you want to buy the place, and we'll work with you, I believe. Let's just double check.
Right.
When is the auction, do you know?
We haven't set a date.
Okay.
Good.
So we've got some
Thank you for your
leeway
time.
and control.
No, thank you.
And then you have this, if we can. No.
Just this, and that?
Well, there's your total.
Okay.
But you can work with that.
All right. So, we're looking at around 83 and a half
Yep.
that we're looking for?
Just a-
83,452.
Yeah.
We need to talk with our council and figure
Yeah.
out
Do you wanna see it, Jeff?
All right, so we're gonna talk with our council, find out what the procedures are and see what we can have to do. We'll have a a clearer answer for you at our next meeting. Fair enough?
Very good.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for popping up, because, like I said, we're just looking for a way to reimburse the town the money they're out. So at the,
I just, one of my dilemmas that I've been banging up against is, have I spoke to the town? Are they gonna consider me in the conversation of possible buying the property? So now when I go forward today, from tonight on, folks giving me a little bit more,
we'd like to sell it to you.
to get to these people to start listening.
Okay?
They're gonna wanna do, they're gonna wanna send one of their guys down there to assess it.
All right. Let's see what our representatives say and how we need to go about this, and we'll see you at our next meeting, and we'll do what we can. Fair enough?
I'm here for, do the right thing, it's a doable thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you in 2 weeks.
Town Administrator's report.
A couple of weeks ago, I went to a Southern New Hampshire Planning meeting for the Mutual Sharing Committee for the electric, propane, heating oil, for regional purchases. It looks good for the electric. Right now, we are at .099 for the purchasing from residential power. Southern New Hampshire Planning is looking at .075. Our contract is not up until December, so I'm still in conversation with Southern New Hampshire Planning to find out if we can still go in at that later date if they're starting sooner.
Sounds like a
So
good idea.
once I get everything in order, I will bring it to the board, and hopefully it will be for the next meeting. As you heard, I have started the process. I've contacted St. Jean Auctioneers because we've used them in the past here, many, many years ago. And J. St. Jean has already come in, picked up the information, has looked at the properties. They will be coming back the following Monday, our next meeting, to give you the procedures and how to proceed, how they need to proceed. All the proceeds that, they do not take any money from the town, it's
They
incorporated.
get their fee from
Yes,
the buyer.
right. And something that Mark didn't mention, we ran into a little bit of an issue with the concrete. And it's solid concrete, it's not block, so we're going to have to find somebody that can take it out. So, and then Steve made the,
every day.
already said that we do need selectmen tomorrow at the election.
Anybody have anything for the Town Administrator?
All set.
How about unfinished business? Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Just while we've got fire people here, when Mark gets back from vacation, I think we need to begin strategizing work session with regard to the fire department and with regard to rescue. You know, we've talked about plans for facility, whether we want to pursue them or not. If we are interested in pursuing them, I think, you know, the sooner we get
start
on
right
this, the
away.
better. The other thing that I think we need to begin conversations about, which will clearly have to involve Cindy and rescue as well, is the potential of moving, you know, and I'm not saying next month, next year, or whatever, but I think we need to have some conversations about moving towards paid personnel with regard to rescue and fire. We're one of the few towns now, and looking around, Epsom, Northwood, Chichester, Nottingham, all have paid staff, and I think we are getting woefully thin during daylight hours. Quite frankly, if something happens to Chief Tibbetts or to Cindy, we'd have a huge hole.
Exactly.
Midweek, 9 to 5. As I said, I'm not looking for any specific starting date, but I think it's something that we need to talk about and be working into.
If we want to bring it
move
up
forward.
next March, we need to start as soon as possible working towards it.
So I think it's actually sort of a follow-up to that. I just had a couple things. If you remember, I think it was in November that Jeannie Menard and Erin DeBacco, who's a new woman in town, came to a board meeting to talk about utilizing a program from UNH called New Hampshire Listens to start the discussion about not specifically what should a building look like, but a broader issue of what safety needs do we need in town. And I had said I would be happy to sort of coordinate that once I was no longer, and communicate with the board once I was, had more time. So just FYI, Erin and Jeannie and I did go meet with Michelle Holt Shannon from New Hampshire Listens over at UNH, and I think we're on the agenda for not the next meeting, but maybe in April, to talk more about it. But, it does look interesting. I mean, basically, they help communities discuss, local issues. So anyway, you'll hear more about that. But it's completely connected to what you're talking about.
That's also just communication in general.
Right, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, they help towns talk about any kinds of issues. The one that we started talking about is the safety complex, but you're right, they've worked in Barrington and some other places. So the other thing was the beard growing contest. I'm sure we all are really excited
Just
about.
living the dream.
So I won't be on the board, but I will be, I probably will send you guys some emails about the logistics of how we're going to do the judging.
Good.
But just remember, it's April 16th, so please mark your calendars. That's the same day that we have the cleanup, the town cleanup. I think it'll be around noon or something. So that was that. And the third thing I was going to mention was the swap shop, but you already did, so that's
Beautiful.
great. So thanks.
Any other unfinished other or new business? I would like to say thank you, Rebecca,
Thank
for
you.
being here
Also.
with us
Thank you.
and for putting up with us.
It's been interesting.
And
But very interesting, and I really have particularly appreciated the opportunity to get to know folks who work in the town. I was saying to Mark Young, I didn't know very many people at the highway department. I didn't know, very many people at fire and police, and I have really enjoyed getting to know the folks that make the town tick. So, thank you.
well, we have a little thank you from the town administrator and the board of selectmen.
Thank you. Purple, it's my favorite number colored. Seriously, it is.
And again,
Don't tip it.
What? Don't tip it?
I think I understand that it's not always been the greatest, easiest thing to sit here with
Thank you.
us,
I
but
love
we appreciate
cactus.
it. That
Thank you
is
very much.
fantastic.
That's really sweet.
And don't forget, your plaque is for you.
And you get to take your name with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Not here. Citizens' comments. Don't hear any.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Yeah, we're done. Ready. Oh, no.
She's here.
That might be she.
Can I delay that,
Rescind.
rescind that adjournment? As there is someone here who wants to have a meeting with us. Ms. Hayes? Might understand that you wish to have a non-public session with us? Could I get a motion?
You can. I need my first page. Make a motion for non-public RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, C, matters which is discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person.
Second.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, folks, we'll be right back.